Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. I'm Siddharth Zarabi and with me is Rana, the Group CEO of Havas, India. Thank you very much for being here at the BT studio, our multiverse studio on stands, online, on air, as we call it, part of the India Today group. And with me, one of the finest minds in the Indian media space. Rana, big jamboree and the amount of people here and the top line discussion. I wanted you to tell our viewers what are the couple of big things that all CEOs from this fraternity are talking about, the good and the bad both, please.
So no, thank you first for getting me on your show, and it's good to be here. I think the good thing about what we are seeing in Goafest is you're seeing a lot more of enthusiasm and participation from all forms of advertising and media agency. It's just not, advertising agency or a media agency. We have all the broadcasters, many clients, many publishing houses, television channels, digital. I think it's a very good melting point of all the forms of advertising and media channels that should come under together. So I think that's something which is very exciting for all of us. I think in terms of conversations, everybody's, there is naturally, there was a lot of challenges about how will the economy do, what is happening, what kind of conversations are going to happen, is it going to be television, is it digital? I think I'm finding some of these sessions, though I'm part of the committee which has kind of sat and worked on some of these, I think the sessions are very stimulating. So if you've spent some of the interesting sessions about startup economy or the digital versus television, I think it's quite more, it's not just educative, it's quite clear in terms of the kind of information that we are sharing with everybody.
Lots to unpack from that first answer, so we'll take that one by one. The first point, and Sam Bolsara, who is sitting right here a little while ago, gave me two numbers. ADEX expectations of India growth, 16%.
Yeah.
And for worldwide, he said 3%.
Yeah.
Now, that's a phenomenal difference.
Yeah.
So what does that really tell us about Indian consumer sentiment and the economy and how growth will pan out from your point of view?
See, I won't get into the absolute numbers because Sam is naturally, the big boss, and he's got his Madison report and all, which clearly shows, and you naturally, the numbers are not debatable. I think the challenge that we have to see is that how much larger will the numbers be? If you look at the kind of conversation that we are seeing everywhere, whether it is in terms of the startup economy or in terms of the, brick and mortar model or everything that we are seeing, we are definitely seeing that advertiser funds are going up. It may get deployed in various platforms.
But
so
funds are going up.
Definitely going
and
up.
Can you put a number to that?
No, so whether that's what I'm saying. So if you look at the ADEX and you say if it's growing at a 16%, you may debate and saying that maybe it's growing at 12%, maybe it's growing at 14%. But I can vouch and clearly say that it's double digits and above. So, which itself, for a base that we are talking about, is a very big number. I'm not going to compare it against the international growth because there the base is much bigger, and it's far higher. So for them, even I would say that even at a 3 or 4%, that's quite substantial.
It mirrors global economic growth versus India's
Exactly. So if you just look at India's GDP and the way we are growing and the numbers we are talking, I think even at a bare minimum double digits and above, that's a substantial big number we are talking about in the next few years. And this is only a growth which is not going to taper down. It's only going to keep moving up.
Within that headline number are multiple segments.
Yeah.
And for a market like India, complex, not homogeneous, from a consumption point of view, offering point of view, pretty much everything goes. Winner takes it all doesn't really work in many sectors in India. Within that, what will drive the growth? Which segment will drive growth?
So I would again, the way we look at it, and that's where I keep telling everybody, at least in the group and across the world, and say is that which platform, which segment not is the platform, which is the platform which the consumer is going to, spend more time on. So you cannot define it by saying, oh, it's a digital economy. Now, even digital is now fragmented. So can you imagine? Earlier it was media fragmentation. Now we are saying the fastest growing segment is digital.
But that is
No, that is totally fragmented because suddenly you have some 21 different forms of digital consumption happening. So if you now deep dive and say, so Rana, tell me which form of digital fragmentation and which vertical under digital, that's a new conversation that's emerging. So you're talking about connected TVs, you're talking about gaming, you're talking about social, You're talking about digital adoption in mobile. You're talking about digital adoption on OTT. Can you see what has happened? I think what we are saying is that if you ask me a more direct question about saying, is it going to be a certain form of viewership and how will the consumer observe? I'm saying the consumer is going to observe on the move.
Okay.
If it is on the move, then the platform has to be according to that. So when I say on the move, as means like, for example, I may be in Goa, I'm still going to consume a lot of content from where I am. So I may be in the car, I may be catching a flight, I may be shopping, I may be not driving, that's risky. I may be going from point A to point B. Am I there? So the forms of medium is going to be something which is the world of what you call in today's world, we are calling it the digital world, but I'm calling it more like the platform, which is the moving world media.
Multi-platform.
Multi-platform moving world media.
Moving world. And that's a nice way to put it. Tell me, it's just one Rana on multiple platforms. So from an advertising ROI point of view, I don't get this because 20, 25, 30 years back, one newspaper, max 2 newspaper households. Of course, professional journalists like me get 7 or 8 still every morning. Then television, limited number of news channels and entertainment. But like you said, digital, don't even know how many.
Correct.
How does advertising ROI get, justified in this kind of a world?
So I think again in this also there is a lot of debate that's going on in terms of the ROI. In fact, in one of the sessions, it was very interesting where you could see that the entire conversation was that it's going to be backed by data. So, when you look at ROI is going to be related to the kind of consumption, which is the data point that you know that this is the person who's going to be absorbing. So if you're trying to get me and you know that you got some kind of a feedback, which is why it's everything getting sharper into the way the segmentation is happening, the way the entire ROI is. But I think one of the points that we are all saying that if you still want to have very hard cut ROI driven conversation in this so-called dynamic world of media, data, numbers, segmentation.
A deluge of data.
The deluge of data, the deluge of channels. And when I say channels means channels not in form of the classical channels and the channels of media and communication. I think what you must keep in mind is as a brand, do you have a story to tell to him or her? Is it meaningful? Is it engaging? Even if it's a 30-second point to a meme, to a joke, to some kind of a communication, is it engaging? Because remember, in this world, those brands are going to stand out, which are beyond transactional. If you're just a transactional brand, I know how to use you. I will only engage with you when you start building a relationship with me. So in a way, you're still discussing what the world has always been saying. It's a business of ideas. It's a business of how you and I are talking today and connecting. So if you don't connect with me, whether you capture me, you will not remember. You will then answer the same question that how do I get Rana? Because you've connected with me, you will figure out how to connect with Rana.
Okay.
Whether it's on the phone, whether it's in this medium or whether it's on that medium. If you don't connect with me, you've lost him forever.
Okay. That's a good message to put out there. Thanks for that, Rana. But let's come to the other part of your earlier reply. Startups.
Yeah.
People on the same seat have told me that there was a phase of exuberance.
Yeah.
And that kind of drove them to spend a lot.
Yeah.
That's dried up. That has had immediate consequences. We've also seen IPL from a short-term quarterly perspective having the kind of impact. What is what is going to drive growth in the next 2-3 quarters? Which segments do you see performing well?
So I think, if you look at the two questions there, so let me quickly answer the first part. I think the startup world is naturally going through a bit of a transformation, which is like what we heard from Rajan of Sequoia today. Or if you even follow all the stories, and we have certain clients, we have Swiggy, we have, many of these clients like Ola, we have Oyo and everybody. And what we gather from everybody of them is that naturally there's a proper correction, which in a way is happening. Of course, they're all moving towards profitability, something that you're reading about it. As a business person or as a CEO of a group or as a professional, I would say better late than never. So in a way, it's good for the Indian economy also because, a lot of these extra monies, if you felt that monies were getting burnt or something, the monies are getting corrected. And one of the good points I picked up today was that, we should not equate everything to 2021. We should look at 2023 and then say what are we doing good.
This is the new benchmark here.
Exactly.
Because it's come after 3 years of extraordinary
So we are,
development.
and then suddenly we are all comparing it to those 2-3 years back, which is actually leading to a lot of these fallacy and these controversies or challenges that we feel as becoming the new challenges. So that's one interesting point. And I think one of the points again I picked up today is that if you're going to see the next 18 months, the entire startup ecosystem is going to become not only profitable, they will also be making a lot more of money, and money which is equivalent to multiple Unilevers is what was told by Rajan by 2030. Now that we are talking about some staggering numbers here. Staggering. He runs Sequoia, so I would presume that there is enough and more facts and points of view, because I won't be saying that he would be generally talking. So that's point number one. So to answer, I definitely see the startups or the healthy startups coming back in a larger way. They've just gone out of one IPL. There are many more coming up. So that's one. I think in second, what we are definitely seeing as a way of consistency that's happening is that you're going to have more what we are seeing as demand-driven kind of clients. So, for example, what I meant is that FMCGs will continue to put money behind. India is end of the day 1.4 billion. This is crazy. So the point is consumption will continue. Now that consumption naturally will be led by maybe what we call as you may call it as the B, C, D, E towns, what we call as the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns. So the massive consumption happening in those markets. Somebody again mentioned in one of the forums that you have to focus in regional markets. Means, is there a debate out there? Look at the way the regional markets are expanding. So there is money, there are clients, there are small businesses. It has to be tapped. We try, but we need to understand how to tap it. There's a massive list of clients which are still getting untapped, which are doing extremely well in these markets. So startups definitely coming back in the next few months. The classical brick and mortar models are going to continue to keep putting money. Maybe the thresholds may keep wavering as per the sales. Because remember, like I said, a consumption economy, which will keep growing. We discussed the growth rate also of the advertising market. Your GDP is still pretty healthy. So we are going to keep investing money in that. And of course, the new ways of anybody who's got some new brand launches or new assignments. If you look at the automobiles, we handle some of the largest automobile brands. They continue to spend a lot of money.
And within the automobile space, a lot of stories that are being created through launch of new electric products, for example.
Exactly.
Just one point on e-commerce, and maybe a bit theoretical from what I have heard. I get the impression that increasingly e-commerce companies are both creating conversations, inspiring product purchase decisions, and the transactions within the platform.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily have to rely on third parties as much as they did during startup phase. Is that the right way to look at it?
I don't know whether it's the right way. I think what you're indirectly saying is that they become self-sufficient in a way, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yes.
Yeah. So I think what's wrong with it? If you have a model where
then what happens to traditional media?
But that's just few and far.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's few and far, because remember what I said. If you understand the platform and why Rana is in that platform, and you suddenly discuss financial news when I'm on Amazon, do you think you'll connect with me? You will only connect with me if you're discussing something around that world, right? So let's go back to ecom. I'm on a site which is, let's say, whoever, where I'm buying something, right? That's what you're asking. And you suddenly start sharing news with me that what happened on IPL last night. It's two different platforms altogether. So the advertiser has to know, I should not just take this channel because वो channel में बहुत subscription है या वो channel में बहुत लोग है. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I am not connecting with you. I just let it go, which is why the right swipe and left swipe comes. No, I see it and I say.
So are you saying that interest-based verticals is where that game will go?
Engagement and relevance. That's why I'm saying fundamentals will become tougher, right? Data, ROI, proof, what platform. But basics, what is basic? Basic is what does any communication do? It engages, or at least it informs. You have to be clear, is this the medium? Now, if you are not going to get involved, and let's say as a media agency, you come to me as a client and I give you a plan and I say, okay, these are the 3 places, And then after 1 month, you come back and say, I'm getting no results. How is this possible? I'm not getting results. You said these are 1 and 2 and 3. What is the fundamental? Nobody will answer that. That this channel and your message
Is not
is
relevant
not
to each
relevant.
other. That's a wonderful way of.
You must think, because sometimes you must just look at it. You're also in the communication world, right?
Yeah.
You must look at it. Don't you get irritated sometimes?
Yeah.
Just think about it. You say, what's doing here? Guess what we have to answer to each other. This is, we are in the business of advertising and marketing. Ye hamara profession hai. We should support it.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
But it's a wrong medium. Somebody has done wrong. So if we can get that thing right, then I don't think we'll have an issue with the medium so much as we are talking right now.
Okay. My final question, and this is to do with the lessons that have emerged from IPL in terms of the digital versus TV, the spending, consumption. So, a knowing smile there. but really, this is purely a journalistic question. What this IPL, what has it sort of, the enduring messages that are coming out of it?
See, actually, so there are two answers to it. Okay?
Yeah.
The first answer is that what I'm going to give a correct answer is that.
And I can't imagine you not giving a correct answer. I think I'm interviewing you for the first time. You are the kind of personality who will always say the right stuff.
I'm absolutely. And thank you for that, because you actually understood that's how I am. So I think the correct answer is that any medium where such large investments are there needs to be subscribed for. Nothing is free. You don't get a free breakfast, right? So whether it is television or whether it is digital, and if it's IPL, where so much investments have happened, you must have to pay for it. I should not get it for free. That's definitely one. So
it's like sport overseas since decades.
Absolutely. My point is that if you think this is a exclusive content and this is high in premiumization, because we know how much the IPL rights have gone for, then it should command that, and clients are ready to invest in that. The moment you give client or anybody or me or anyone something that, what we used to earlier call it, क्या आप जब सब्जी खरीदने जाते तो आपको, when you used to buy 100 rupees का सब्जी, उसे मुझे धनिया free दे दो. There's no dhania here. Okay, na? So this is IPL. So it has to be paid. Even that last spot should be paid, because look at the stakes of the kind of things that are happening. So that's one. I think second, what we must take in cognizance to relate it to the first point is very clear that digital is definitely making a breakthrough. Like I said, remember the man on the move, the mobile man or the mobile lady or the mobile human being or the mobile person.
Breakthrough by what metric?
Which one?
Digital, making a breakthrough by what metric?
But what I meant is that for earlier, if it was a very classical, the monies and everything was being put onto the world of television, it is a given that the world of digital formats, whether it's your mobile or your iPad or your television, it had to come in, because people are watching it on the go, which is why I'm saying it's also a behavioral change of the consumer. Today, earlier it was appointment viewing कि आज रात को semi-final है देखते. Now you can still watch the semi-final, because आप और मैं यहाँ बैठ के गोवा में कल जो रात का मैच था, we could have seen here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have felt अरे I miss हो गया. The point is that's the fundamental change that's happening. So is it one versus the other? You may have more viewers here. I don't know if a viewer is watching non-stop 3 hours on that world of mobile, and similarly on the television world, you and I probably do 5 different things while we are watching.
Absolutely.
So next few years, you're going to have both mediums parallel living in IPL. My only thrust would be that we should not change the paradigm just because a medium is relatively cheaper and a medium is relatively more expensive. Just because television commands a certain price and digital may not, because suddenly if I tell you 10 seconds of television is so much and 10 seconds is digital.
You'll go there. But how long do you think television will continue to have this pricing power?
I think India mein television power will stay because I'm a big believer of the India market and the television market. Your numbers may change, the proportion may change, but I don't see any sudden or dramatic numbers coming down. At least for me, at least in the next 5 years, I'm not going to see the numbers change dramatically. We've been talking about it for the last 10 years. मैं तो 10 साल निकल गए. I'm not seeing much of a change. Yes, like I said, we are open for change, and of course there is technology change, there are different changes and all. But I think we are doing pretty well.
India में television रहेगा. the summary message that Rana Barua has shared with us. Rana, I enjoyed that conversation.
so much.
All the very best, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on this conversation. If you've been, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.